Hey everyone, Mr. Clutch here, going to look at Thursday's review for SPY and QQQ. So I got the 15-minute chart up here. We'll start off by just nailing out some zones. I've been doing this at the start of the videos to help everyone get a feel for these. So we go back to previous. I've got basically the pre-market over here on the right showing for Thursday. So this is where we'd be as we were coming into the day, right? So I've got a zone up here that I'm drawing. Again, remember, if you're new to the videos, we take the high of the previous day 15-minute candle down to the body, the high or low part of the body on whichever way it's moving of the next candle. So this is how Casey does it in Discord. So we're just, all credit to him on this. So we're just trying to master how he does it since he's the best. So so we'll take the low of the yesterday too, and it matches up perfect right with that low from Wednesday. So see, this would probably be your low here. It kind of goes up at the end of the day. So you just kind of go up to the bottom of where those candles bodies were. So we have these two. So as we're looking short, you're probably looking back here on last Friday's for the next zone down. You probably do something like that maybe. And then if we're going back up, this is that one weird where we have to get really maybe into the hour chart and really zoom out to go back far enough to find something. I mean, we're going back a year plus here. So our next zone up, yep, right here. So there's actually quite a bit of room. Let me make sure I didn't move that one. There's quite a bit of room. You're kind of just playing with it here. I like this here. Yeah, so we could go all the way up to this previous one here because the high of the day of this day kind of fits there. If we go all the way up here, maybe go down, encompass that candle, maybe the wick of the next one. So we know we got a pretty good zone. If you go back, a couple times in there. So nice little zone there. So let's go down to the 2-minute now and look at today's action. So where are we at here? Yeah. So as we come into today, let's see how we did here. Okay, so we basically based on the same zone again. Yesterday we took the high zone, which was the same as the high from our previous high zone back here from Monday. The low zone's been hitting all week, so we've been bouncing right in between these. So here we are out of the gate. It looks like we're just going to sell off. So we're getting down here. We're wicking below our zone. Everyone's looking short, and we bounce right back through the zone, and off we go. So it looks simple, right? This is what we kind of always talk about. Like if somehow you were to nail a call down here at 426, and this thing goes all the way up to 429.25, somewhere in there, you are this looks like, oh man, you can get a nice $3 move, but there's a lot in here where you're probably not holding through a lot of these wicks and stuff. So it's always nice to look, oh yeah, I could have held that, but you probably wouldn't have. So let's be realistic and see what we could do here. So this was hard to play out of the open. Once we get open and this kind of happens and we drip down here and we're coming back up, you could draw a trend line here. Let's just see what it looks like. Yeah, so this would have been fairly decent. If you didn't wait for a close, that wick could have got you entered there and then maybe stopped you out. But as you start seeing this pull up, you probably want to see, since that wicked up, you're probably going to want to see this close. Well, when that closes that far, that's not a good entry. So now you're waiting for your entry. This is one of those ones I talk about a lot where it's a steep sell-off, but man, it's right down to our previous trend line. We talked about that in the previous video, how it comes down to back test our trend line. It's at the 13. That's a low risk, high reward spot there. So I'm fine getting in there. You would have had to hold through, here you'd probably went down a little bit. I'm not sure if this would have been enough to scale here. And then this tap down here, you probably wouldn't have stopped out if you had like a 15-20% stop. But you may have stopped out automatically as this closes below and then keeps going. And so that's just kind of one of those tough spots. But you could have got right back in here. I mean, you could have held it if you said maybe the 48's close enough for you that you're only down, because if you entered right here, you're not down a ton here, percentage-wise. So maybe you hold through there, but if not, as soon as this reclaims and kind of starts pushing off, you could get back in here. And really nothing tested you for a while. You might have ended up having a trailing stop hit somewhere in here. So that's a nice move. And then we try the 48 one more time here. Let's see, um, as we're walking up, is once we come into here, and then we're kind of, I don't know if you would have maybe taken something, you might have been tempted to here, and you might have got a little scalp out of it. But once you're kind of like through this part and you're seeing, okay, we're just sitting here we're like bouncing off and falling back. Like we're not really doing anything. We'd go below, come back up, fall below. This is where you might draw a trend line right here, something like that. And that gets you in nice. We've been having these like lower, or these trend lines that are closer to flat, but they're just a little bit. We've been having these really good breakouts here. So there you could have got, it's probably your breakout of the day right there. 428, and you get a good move there. Trailing stop hits, we sell back off. We come all the way down, and man, look at that touch on the 200. Talk about a great entry spot. Just setting a limit order down here on the 200. When that hits wicks, you could have nailed that perfectly. So as we get back up and through, I see some trend lines here that we could play off of. That's one, but we're too far extended. I really wanted to look at this one. That's a better one right there. Come up, test that. We make our trend line. Just comes back down, pushes back through here, so you could get in here with a stop right down here and catch a nice move up there too. So one more time. Again, we're getting close to our zone. We rejected right short of it. You could do something like that. Get a nice entry there off the 13 and hit that end of day move if you're still playing it. So several moves up. Just remember, it's okay to play moves to the downside on a trend day. Like you could have caught something really nice right here if you were playing it. But just stick with the trend, until your EMAs are really the other way. You're going to feel most confident about following the trend. So that's that. Let's take a look over at Qs. I'm just flipping over. I'm in a short on futures, so we kind of had like a head and shoulder look before futures closed, and then when I opened back up, I just smashed short because I just thought, hey, why not? And there was a invalidation right above if it took out the high. So I'm up a little, but it's kind of stalling, which is not unusual with the super low volume happening right now. But just keep an eye on that in the other window. So let's look at Qs here. We'll quickly draw some zones on that. I won't talk through it as much just because I'm going to try to do this fairly quickly here to save time. So there's Thursday. So yesterday's high, we're drawing one from right there down to here probably. That kind of coincides with this zone back here. You may even just include that and make it it's a pretty big zone there. But yesterday's low down here. Let's see, somewhere right in here. So we won't make another one since we obviously know now we stuck in between them. So it's a little bit different look here on Qs because we just pinned between our high and low of yesterday. But it still was a trend up, and you could have caught some nice moves. So out of open, that's not a bad move when we have these little clear trend lines out of open. You might have scalped that for a little bit. Would have got stopped on the next candle, so just depends how you're playing it. Yeah, I could see you getting in here, and you probably wouldn't have got a lot out of it. You may even broke even if that came back against you or this one here. So could also have been a stop, so not the best of plays. So anyways, we come up, and these are starting to spread out right here. It kind of pulls them apart, our EMAs. And then we stall out here, come back, we test the 48. This was, again, those giant falls I talk about. They just come down and then come back up. They're so steep down, I don't like to play a direct, when it's busting back through with like within one or two candles. So I usually try to let this settle and then find maybe another point for my trend line and then look at where that comes out later. Then once again, 200 tap, you could have just nailed that if you were playing that. But if you're drawing out kind of like something like that, as this doesn't close through it, I'm probably not taking that yet. I'm probably watching. Even if that's pushing up a little, it's like, we're pretty extended. So what you might do then is kind of redraw that, even if you want to just use the top of the bodies of the candles there. And then that gives you your perfect entry right there. And that's when you could have taken up. And it was pretty choppy, so it was a premium burn. And God, this little wick right here. If you're still holding, you may be tempted just to get out, but then if you hold that, boom, it's off to the races. And gives you a few pullbacks, but really nothing in here that's going to stop you out till maybe here. And this is kind of hard to play out because it did drop in and then just kind of walk sideways. Yeah, it goes up here. Let's see. Ends up going back to our 200. Here's a move that I could see playing to the downside. We've got a trend line right here. That I like because as it's breaking through here and then it's kind of like wicking and sticking here to the EMAs on these three candles. And it's like they're flipping. And so you've got a lot of room between here. You know, it's over $1 move down to the 200. So I can see you playing a downside move in an uptrend here. And then really you could have almost caught the bottom here just by doing something like that. Yeah, you'd have caught it right off here. Comes in, makes like a higher low. Granted, it wasn't, our EMAs weren't flipped right yet, but you never know. You could take a spot there and have a tight stop, but not a super ideal play. But the day kind of just chops its way up and out. That's what I was saying. Some of these, even when you move a direction, some days it's on the 2 minute, it's, man, there's so many spots that you may have got stopped out or not helped through something because what we like to catch are those big fast moves that like something like this where it's a lot of candles in a row. You can really get a good return. Sticking around through the chop's kind of hard. So anyways, with that said, hopefully that helps. As always, follow me on Twitter at Mr. Clutch Trades. Let me know in the comments or on Twitter or Discord if you have any videos you'd like to see me make or anything that might help. I'm always open to just trying to, it helps me to walk through this stuff, and also if it helps anyone else, and that's why I'm doing it. So I have another one planned soon on flags and entries, because I know that's something we see asked a lot, is how do you time your entry in a flag. So I'm going to look at some examples of that. So anyways, with that said, everyone have a good day, and let's finish strong on Friday. Thanks.